There we go. Use this opportunity to say welcome to you all. Look, this is going to be a bit of a weird session, right? So if weird is not your thing, you probably need to jump off this call. But this is not going to be your traditional type of session. And but I think it's really, really important that we have this session. I think it's really important that we talk about these things because, in all fairness, a lot of the things we share, business formulas and mindset formulas, is not the full picture of how me and Mike lives our lives. And, like you, me and Mike has many ups, but also like you, me and Mike has many downs. Life does this, doesn't it? Up, down, up, down, up, down. Or if you want to, it's cyclical. Sometimes you're in winter, sometimes you're in summer. So we can't say to you that we live this extraordinary life and have all these experiences if we're not taking into account that we're not only using business formulas, we're not only using mindset. There's a third thing that we use as well, and that is really meticulously tracking, the signs and the symbols and the patterns, if I may, that appear around us. So, I think what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to start sharing my screen. And if you can just give me a thumbs up that you're actually seeing what's there in front of you. It's me, but today we've got a little bit of a butterfly on there. And today we got a little bit of a ladybug there at the bottom. And look at my praying mantis. So this is more the type of reality that we live in. And I'm really so excited to share with you more of this today. Now, before I go into the actual presentation, I want to know, is there anyone here who's, let's say, in the last week or two, experienced some weird stuff going down? Maybe something that's repeating to you. Maybe you've had a profound dream that you want to share with the group. And I can assure you, most people on this call are into the stuff. So I don't want you to be shy.
Mhm.
Anything that you feel, wow, I've noticed a shift in energy, or I'm seeing something more regularly, we would love to know.
So I will share. It was very weird. My cat
Yep.
Rosie, I dreamt of. She caught a lobster, and
A
then
lobster?
a lobster. I know exactly a lobster. I don't live at the coast, so she caught a lobster. But
Wow.
it was poisonous. But she knew what to do, so she got herself some solution, and she was washing her mouth out. And I thought, this is the most strangest dream. She is a big hunter, but it's the strangest dream. But she was fixing herself in my dream. But in any case, there's my dream. I'm not sure if it's what you.
What's lobster represent to you?
I don't know. I don't like the way they kill lobsters for you to eat them. Obviously, I think it's very terrible. Um, but I don't particularly like lobsters. So it was interesting. The lobster was coming after, which is also very interesting. I do like the sea. So I'm not sure what it represents, Landi. I have been thinking about it, but I'm not completely sure.
Well, here's a tip for you, Annalise. Thank you for sharing. When something crossed my path that's unusual, because sometimes when we're in these things, we tend to get so honed in on the detail. I know for some of you on the school, you're only getting into understanding these signs and symbols and patterns, especially when the weird stuff happen. But when something comes and it's out unusual and it's out of the ordinary, then we do want to pay attention to it. We do want to ask ourselves, what is the message that's actually coming through here? What is it trying to tell me? And what I usually do, and you can do it exactly like this, I go to Google, for example, and ultimately you don't want to Google it, you want to intuit it. You want to go, what does a lobster mean to me? That will be ideal. But we learning language here, and we new in this, and so I would put into Google, what is, and you can maybe do that, Annalise, and later share with us what you found. What is the spiritual message? That's actually the words I use. What is the spiritual message of the lobster? And here comes the gold from a shamanic perspective.
Mm.
Because we hear the word shamanism and we think it's weird, but every indigenous culture has got a shamanistic culture. So when you ask Google that, or even if you want to ask AI that, what it does, it's going to crawl across all the cultures and find you something universal. Again, ultimately, you want to be able to wake up and go, I dreamed about an octopus, and I know for me personally, an octopus means the global citizen, because you want to create a language that's unique to you. But because we've forgotten this language, we are making use of search engines like AI and Google and whatever to try and understand the universal symbolism. You might also get symbolism presented to you in Google and AI and not agree with that. And that is 100% fine. That's 100% fine. You know, because I've been tracking signs and symbols like a crazy person. I've developed some association. So I know what, you know, the eagle means to me. I know what the falcon means to me. I know all those things. So ultimately, you want to have your journal. And when you find the symbol of something, you want to go tell yourself, this is what the symbol means to me, as opposed to going and Google it, because it's different for different people. But in the beginning, that's not always going to be possible. So later, Annelies, even if you want to put it in the chat box, it'd be interesting if you're comfortable to do that, to see what exactly that means, because maybe we can help with that a little bit. Who else want to share? What's been happening in the past week or two that's been like out of the ordinary or not something you usually see? Yes, Agnes.
Well, whether it's something unusual, I'm not sure, but I would like to share this. On Sunday, it was a beautiful sunny day here in Brussels, and I always loved looking at the clouds and see animals, faces, people. So just look at it and then allow it to have an impact on me. And Sunday was particularly interesting because I saw a dog, I saw a horse, I saw a human body. It was more like a knight or something. A big person moving forward and upwards. I did not get any particular message for me, but it was just fascinating to observe, and it felt as a like kind of communication without me knowing what the message was.
Right. Fascinating. Such a good example, Agnes. Thank you for sharing. Would you like for me to give you some insights into what it may be?
Yep. I would love to have your what comes up for you when you hear this.
So there's two things I want you all to remember when you see signs and symbols and synchronicities coming into your life. The first principle you want to consider is the universal or spiritual law of as above, so below. That means what's coming in may be messages from outside of you. So this can be the universe, it can be the great spirit, it can be God, depending on what you call that creation energy, right? And this energy is trying to bring you a message. As above, so below. You're seeing it above, you're receiving the messages below. What can a potential message like this be? Well, you see the horse. It may be the year of the horse. It may be saying to you things is going to speed up quite quickly. It's going to start galloping. This horse has been eating its hay, and everyone has been asking, where's the horse? We've been promising this fast movement. Where's the horse? And it may be saying the horse is incoming, right? The second message is the dog, the universal symbol of friendship. So maybe there will be some support coming in. Maybe there will be some friendship coming in. But then you see the knight in shining armor. So it may be in the form of a person that this come in, and it may speed up very quickly because you see the acceleration. So what we're doing here, we're not looking at the symbol in isolation. We're actually trying to stitch a sentence together. And this is where it becomes fascinating, because you didn't just see friendship. You didn't just see acceleration. You didn't just see a person. You see it all in one sentence. There's a possibility that there may be a person coming into your life. It's very noble. It's going to provide you with some support and friendship, and it's going to happen very fast. So it's almost like seeing the oracles in the sky, as above, so below. But there's a other part about signs and symbols that's not always talked about, and that is the universal law of as within, so without. That means that the sky may simply be showing you what's going on within. So it's not necessarily a message coming from the outside in, it's a message from the inside out. So almost like a projector. Who of you remember those old projectors that we had? You had to set it up and then the light, and then you had to put those projector slides on. So we operate like those projectors as well. So what can happen is that you've had a change within yourself. It can be the slightest shift. It can be as simple as, I don't believe I deserve someone in my life. And then last week you went, screw that. I believe I deserve someone myself. What happens now is it projects against the clouds for you, back to you, and it's literally showing you the shift. It's showing you that you've shifted in a way that gives you now manifestation power. And I think that's where manifestation is given to people in 10% of the way. You know, we are told just do a vision board and everything will be fine. But manifestation really is shifts in your inner reality that then leads to the manifestation. It can be as simple as, I believe I deserve someone, and suddenly weird stuff starts to happen because you actually manifested it. So it may be either or, maybe any one of those. Thank you for sharing, Agnes. Who else would like to share anything that's happening? And then I'll explain to you why, particularly now, things may be happening quite intensely. Anyone else? Right. Please stop me during the session if there's something you want to share, because we really want to listen to your stories. But I think at this stage, I'm going to move back to the presentation. So what we are talking about here is synchronicity. And synchronicity is very closely linked to our intuition. That's why I find cats so fascinating, because cats has got a very wide peripheral view. I see the cat lovers on this call nodding, because there's something mysterious about them and there's something fascinating about them. James, I'm surprised you're not jumping up with joy, and same with you, Annelies. But people who's drawn to cats are people who's interested in learning from one of the biggest masters on this planet when it comes to intuition, when it comes to really seeing the bigger picture. So, for example, if you're not tapped into your intuition, you will take things at face value. You will literally look at things like, oh, my cat brought a lobster in. That's weird. Scream at the cat, clean the lobster out, end of story. But if you open your peripheral view, you'll go 2, 3, 4 layers deeper, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you really want to. And you'll really start digging into, is this a message that's coming from as above, so below? Or is this actually showing me a shift that has taken inside of me? And depending on your beliefs, some of those messages may be coming from the outside because of planetary shifts or because of fated events that's about to happen in your life. I call these soul contracts. So you've soul contracted to, at a certain time, meet a certain person, or at a certain time to be promoted in your job, or at a certain time to exit your business and go and do something else with your life. The as within, so without may simply be that you've done the deep inner work and you've gone through the journey to actually shift your perspective or upgrade your belief system. And that means it's reflecting to you on the outside. And that is why I really love people journaling these signs and symbols, not just so that you can go and sit and see in isolation, what does it mean when a caterpillar sits on my nose, but so that you can reflect at the end of a week or at the end of a month and try and string these signs and synchronicities together, because it's actually showing you a pattern or it's giving you a sentence. Think of it like this. You were not born understanding language. You were not born really speaking in English or Hungarian or Afrikaans or whatever language you speak. So you have to ask yourself, if you didn't come into this planet with that level of communication, what is the true language, and we'll get to that soon. So what we're talking about here is synchronicity. We're talking about dominoes. And what we many times do, and I find it with many people when I introduce them to signs and symbols, they focus on things like silos in isolation, whereas what I want to show you today is that these things go doop, 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 into dominoes like that. It forms patterns, it forms sentences, not just dot, dot, or dot. It's dot and dot and dot and dot. So we're in a fascinating time now. I tell you, I thought it is really weird. You know, me and Agnes are very connected. I thought it was really weird but normal that I had to be invited to this network, it was a Circle of Excellence event in Cape Town by Diane and Nadia, and I was invited there to talk about signs and symbols. It's not really the thing I do publicly. I tend to talk more about the business and the mindset, but I thought, what the heck, you know, let me just go and talk a little bit about it and help people, because this for me is about helping people. I believe you can literally live with a compass in your pocket full time if you start learning this language, because it leads you somewhere, but it also gives you clarity, also gives you hope. And it's like having a little imaginary friend that is bouncing with you through life, as opposed to constantly looking at life like a window that's not been cleaned for a while. You know, you see glimpses of it and you feel something, but that window is not clean. You know, you wish someone would just take a cloth and clean the window. Now we are about to get the biggest clean of the window that you've had in a very, very long time. And I'll tell you why that is happening. This week, Uranus is moving into Gemini. Now, Uranus has not moved into Gemini for quite some time. You know, it's not been in Gemini, I think, for something like 84 years. Forgive me if the actual amount is wrong. You can go and look it up. But Uranus is a slow planet. And it's one of the outer planets. So it's not like the moon that it's quick cycles. Every month we have a new moon, then we have a full moon, then we have a new moon, then we have a full moon. So we're so used to the influence of the moon, but we're not used to the influence of Uranus. You know, it changes that cycle. It goes into a sign. For example, it's been now in Taurus for 7 years. So the people, you know, who's in the Taurus is on this call would have had quite a lot of significant change, because Uranus is the planet of disruption, of change, of rebellion, of all that type of stuff. But Taurus is about, you know, your money, and Taurus is about the 5 senses, and Taurus is about beauty. So the disruption and the change would have been in those areas. Of course, it would be way more refined for you depending on your natal chart. But for example, my parents moved to their retirement village during this time. Taurus, moving, property, wealth. How many of you had months in the past 7 years where you looked at your bank accounts and you went like, where did my money go, right? What happened to it? Or you might even have looked in your bank account and got, whoa, a lot of money coming in. Suddenly the themes is money and property and stability. And so in Taurus, you may have made the decision now to change your job, but it was a long decision and it was dragged out and you couldn't decide. And because that's how Taurus operate. I mean, Taurus, think of the bull. It sits with its 2 horns, you know, and now it decides and it wants to change direction, but it's not sure. Now, this Uranus, which disrupts and causes changes, is now moving into Gemini. Who of you have ever had to do in your life or dealt with a Gemini? Hands up. Who knows how the Gemini operate? Can someone enlighten me? It can be a good experience. It can be a bad experience. We notoriously have a bad reputation. So just throw it on the table. Yes, James, you have your hand up. Tell me about your bad
Landi,
experience.
you know, Gemini is an air sign like Aquarius.
Yes.
So of course, immediately I will get on very well with Gemini. But they can chop and change their mind very quickly.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the big thing. But I enjoy them because we are air signs and we have a lot in common.
And you're Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Right, yeah. So there you go, right? So now we are moving literally. I'm going to tell you, like this week, Gemini's moving into Gemini is probably moving. I would say start watching Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but don't get too freaked out because it's a 7-year cycle. So depending on your natal chart, that changes may come in 6 months from now. It may come in 2 months from now. It may happen immediately for you now. Depends on where you are. But we're basically moving from an era, which was Taurus, Earth, and we've just went into the new zodiac wheel, into the new year of the zodiac new year, which was the Piscean age, water. So you've just been through a 7-year cycle of earth and water. What do you get when you put earth and water together? Anyone?
Growth.
Yeah, you get growth. But what do you get when you put those elements? When I mix earth and soil with water, what's the substance that come out of that?
Mud.
Mud. Everyone, 7 years stuck in the mud. Do you remember COVID? Anyone here remember COVID? We were stuck in the mud, right? So now, literally this week, that energy is changing. We've just flicked that wheel over. We're no longer in Pisces. We're in Aries. What element is Aries? I see Dobby is super happy about it. Anyone knows the element of Aries?
Fire.
Fire. And in which Chinese New Year are we?
Fire horse.
Fire. And what is about to happen with Uranus? It's about to move into air. What do you get when you put fire and air together?
Steam.
What's more intense than that? Because fire and water is
Flames.
steam. What do you get when you put fire and air together?
More fire, more flames, bigger flames.
Bigger explosion, right? So this energy, thank you, Agnes, that's coming in is explosive energy. And we're going to have this for the next 7 years. And I know some of you have heard talk that we are moving into the area of Aquarius as well, which is even more area. So we all about to get blasted. Now, before you freak out and go, okay, this is a bit freaky. What I'm saying to you is this horse that you've been waiting for is about to start galloping. But this horse will gallop based on what you have done and the seeds you've been planted in the previous 7 years. So think of it like this. Uranus is electricity. And it's interesting that the war at the moment is around uranium. And the planet Uranus was named after uranium, and you use uranium to make nuclear bombs, right? So it's linked with each other. So when all this electricity comes in, which is from Uranus, and you couple it with Gemini, which is about the nervous system, you can see that we talking about a complete rewiring of your nervous system, a complete rewiring of your perspectives and the way you think, because remember, Gemini is about thinking and intellectual and mental. So that gives us an indication on where this boom, this rewiring of the system may happen. And based on the seeds you've planted, this synchronicity will start taking place. So this brings me back to the original message, is that even though this is a fated time, why is this a fated time? I'm just exiting here because I'm letting another people in. My system doesn't want to let people in if I don't exit. So I'm just exiting. I see we lost one person. I'm just bringing them back in. Okay, so as above, so below, right? So we're in a very, very fated time. So regardless of the seeds you've planted, the fact that it's a fated time and that we have a transition will affect you. That transition is from 7 years in Taurus to now really moving into 7 years of Gemini. That already is an earth-air transition, very, very different energy. At the same time, we also have, the Chinese New Year, which means this horse has been sitting there in the stable. It's Chinese New Year started, and everyone's going, why are we still stuck? That is about to happen. That transition where the horse is starting to gallop is starting to happen. as Uranus into Gemini. This is the external stuff. This is the fated stuff. This is almost the stuff that you see on the news. This is the bigger picture, but it will affect you too. At the same time, I want you to go and reflect this week on what is the seeds you've been planting the past 7 years. Have you been planting seeds of, have the theme been, I really need to tell the world my message, but I'm scared to show myself? If that's the seeds you've been planting, that's the type of stuff that will probably be explosive for you. If the seeds has been, I really have too much of a fat ass and I need to lose some weight and I want to get my health back and I'm way too acidic, I need to alkaline more, that theme will probably have an explosive effect. If your theme has been, you know what, I need to play a bigger game, but my shyness has been getting into the way, I'm not really showing people my capacity, that's probably about to explode for you. Maybe your theme has been, you know, I've been in a relationship that's oppressive. I feel I need to get out of it. I need to go out there and explore new options, whatever. That will be explosive. But it will not be like Taurus, where the change come gradual, the change will come quicker. And that's where you see the synchronicity. So what I'm doing by saying this to you is that, yes, synchronicities is messages from the other side, but they're also messages from the inside. So here's an example of a synchronicity. I just want to apologize for the fact that I'm in my bikini, but I couldn't cut it so that I'm not in my bikini. So I hope it doesn't offend anyone here. But this is what happens when synchronicity takes place. This is a red dragonfly. This was in Greece. And this dragonfly kept on circling me and Mike over and over and over again. And then he would sit on my head, and then he would sit on my toe. And as you can see, he literally kept on coming back to my energy. Now, this doesn't mean that I am Francis of Assisi and, you know, the animals can communicate with me, but I wanted to show you magic in motion. What it happens like when there's a frequency change within you, and that frequency is attracting another sentient being to you. And that's telling you something. So now I can look at this energy and I can look at it at an insect and I can say, look, this is an insect and this is coincidence. Or I can say to me, well, this insect spent an hour with us and kept on landing on us, kept on sitting on us. I researched it. It's not common behavior for a dragonfly to do that. But it kept on communicating. It kept on conversing and it wanted that message to land. It was very, very important because it kept on coming back. So now you can look into this energy and you can start deciphering the message. You can say, look, what do we have here? Right? What is this message that's trying to come through? Now, is it the dragonfly whose mouth go like this? Is the intelligence actually in the dragonfly, or is intelligence working through the dragonfly? Now, my belief is that the intelligence is working through the dragonfly. The dragonfly is a conduit, but the interesting part is, why choose the dragonfly? And I think this is where this language becomes incredibly interesting, because the dragonfly represents an archetype. So what does the dragonfly represent? Because we got two things here. We got a dragon, we got a dragonfly, and we got the color red. So I actually got three things. So you want to go and look into all three of those things. You want to see, look, the dragonfly represents swift change. If you look at a dragonfly and the way they don't fly like this. They go, chook, 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 chook. They like what do you call them? A fighter pilot, right? They change direction very quickly. Landi, direction's going to change very quickly for you. Is it because of a planetary transition, as above, so below? Is it because of a soul contract I made for this phase in my life? Is it because of a shift that changed in me internally? There's a possibility that it's all of the above, right? Red, the color red's coming in. Landi, this is going to be intense change. It's going to be something you're very, very passionate about, or it's going to be bloody, right? We don't know. We don't know which way it's going. If I've tracked my signs and symbols the past month or the past year or the past 7 years, I would be able to say it's probably going to be positive or it's probably going to be negative. But of course, we don't like the negative, do we? We only like the positive. So that's where we go seriously into denial. We deny that there's a massive thing coming. It's not going to be cool. But on the other side of that, you're going to be a better person. Or it may be saying, Landi, prepare yourself. There's a bit of a incredible, abundant thing coming in. It's going to be directly related to the chakra in your body that's red, and prepare yourself. So obviously this dragonfly wanted to send that message over and over again. Now, this is where mythology becomes really fascinating. You can go and look into the mythology of a dragonfly. People will say to you it's an elemental creature, that it's actually the horse of the fairy. So they say fairies get onto the dragonfly and they're like dragon riders. And so there's an elemental aspect. Landi, stay close to nature. There's going to be messaging coming through to nature. And that's an easy way for us to reach you. Don't disconnect from nature. Don't sit at home and use your Gemini mind and Google and AI all the time. Look where you are. You're in nature. So the messaging will come through more so in nature. And I can go on and on. There's, of course, dragon energy as well. And dragon energy is always about power. There's a swelling of power. And so this dragonfly, which I believe is a sentient being as well, even though the message is coming through the dragonfly, has therefore been chosen to deliver that specific message because it has to do with archetypes, it has to do with mythology. And now you can see that when something appeared to you, like it did with Anneliese, where, you know, the lobster got dragged into the house, you now see how magical it is. You've just been delivered mail. You've got mail, baby. This is not just random. You got mail and you want to honor that mail. You don't want to go, oh, you know, I'm not sure what it is, and I'm just going to forget about it. You want to go and look into AI, look into Google, talk to whoever dragged it in, go to nature, try and receive more messages, journal about it, meditate about it, pray about it, because otherwise the message is lost. Otherwise the message is lost. So what I'm talking about here is the language of the universe, how it speaks to us. We didn't come in here with English. We didn't come in here with a learned behavior. We had to learn to walk. We had to learn to speak English. We had to learn all these things. So is it possible that we came in here without any language at all? I don't believe so. I believe we came in here understanding the language of the universe very, very well. And this is going to be one of my books in future, where I'm going to share a lot of these stories and a lot of these synchronicities, and hopefully help people to learn this language in the way that a person would help another person understand a language. This is just at a deeper level, right? Because I believe when you pass back over, when you die, the better you understand this language, the better you're going to be able to communicate with the loved ones that's staying behind. So I don't believe it's stopped. And this is all my personal opinions. Everyone on this call may have their own opinion, but I believe the better of a communicator you are while you're alive in the form of a human being, the better communicator you will be when you pass away. Even better, the better communicator you will be in deciphering the messages from those who's already passed on. And here comes the important part. The better communicator you're going to be for the soulmate who's entering your life. So there's many people wanting to come into your life, but they're literally waiting for your vibration. They're waiting for your vibration to be at a level where it allows for them to come in. They are waiting for maybe certain planetary transits so that there's a time where your vibration aligns with the vibration of what's happening with planetary transitions. So just letting another person in again. So that is fascinating, because now I'm giving you two things here. I'm basically saying to you that regardless of the signs and synchronicities, regardless of where the planet is placed at any given point in time, you still have your free will. The free will is the inner work. As within, so without. but you do get affected by the fated events as well. It's actually a combination of both. And then if you can start reading this language and you can understand where it's going, then it would be much easier for you to accept change. It would be easier for you to prepare for change. And it would also be less stressful for you to rely only on what the news is saying or what your friends around the table are telling you, because you on your own trajectory. One of the things that profoundly happened to me amongst many other things is I woke up one night and I was looking at the roof and I saw a symbol on the roof. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting symbol. And somehow I remembered that symbol. Not, I think, in my prefrontal cortex, but my soul remembered it. And so I woke up and I thought, wow, that's an incredible symbol on the roof. But then when I wake up out of the dream of the symbol, I was still seeing the symbol. And I thought, that's weird. I thought it was a dream, but now I'm still seeing the symbol. And I'm going, Landi, that wasn't a dream. The symbol is actually on the roof. And then I woke up a third time. So constantly, I'm actually getting out of this dream and realizing I'm actually experiencing a vision. And when I looked it up, I realized it was the Wegweiser. The Wegweiser is also called the Wayfinder. And it was used in, there's a fight between the Norse. The Vikings would say that the Wegweiser belonged to them. And the Icelandic people will say it's a magic sigil that belongs to them. I believe it's Icelandic. And it was crazy because guess where Landi was? Just a few months later, I was traveling with Mike to Iceland. So it was like the peoples of Iceland, maybe some of my genealogy, maybe some of my ancestry was calling me to Iceland to have maybe a remembrance, to maybe have an experience there, but most of all to tell me that this wayfinder, this compass, if you may, will show you the way. So that's a very clear message for me that I can do what I can do. I can implement things. I can put action plans together, all that thing. But I've been given a compass by my Icelandic ancestors that will lead the way, which takes a little bit of control out of it. It's saying to me, you won't be able to control as much. But if you go and look at all the 8 staffs in the Wegweiser, then you'll see each one of them represents something. One represents protection. The other one represents, divine guidance, for example. The other one, they all represents different things, which is promises. It's that we will show you the direction towards that. On your journey, will protect you. You won't be as much in control as you think, and it goes on and on. Very, very clear message that I've received there, which is a direct message from the universe. So basically, if you become aware of the external stuff, the fated stuff, the stuff that's completely out of your control, and you analyze those things and you understand what it's trying to say to you in messages, and you combine it with the things you're willing to change within yourself and the themes that's been running in your life that is very personal to you and that you would know exactly what it is, you'll be able to say to me, my theme has been career, my theme has been health, my theme has been romance, whatever it is that come up for you when I speak like that, you really are now in the position to write an extraordinary story for your life. You literally are being handed a golden feather, but you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention and you have to make the space every single day to reflect on what's actually coming through to you. Because what's coming through to you is not just messaging from outside, it's also what is happening with you on the inside. So I'll give you a final, I have so many things to share with you, but I'll give you an example of this again, of the type of things that happen in my life. And I would like to have your spin on it because I want you to learn how this works. But this is what happened. This is what happened. Because we're talking now about signs and symbols, right? We're now talking about the actual things that appear. We're now talking about Annaliese's lobster. We're now talking about Landi's dragonfly. We're now talking about the horse and the dog and the night in the cloud that Agnes shares with us. We're now opening the dictionary. We've now spoken about how these things come about and what is the driving forces behind it. But now we're talking about the words, actually learning in the dictionary what this mean, what this mean, what this mean, what this mean. So a way for you to learn this and to help you get going is to, when something appears to you, ask yourself which element it's from. If you're working with clouds, you're working with the element of air. If you're working with a horse, a dog, and a human, you're working with things that got their feet on the ground. So you're working with earth, right? So Agnes would be working with the element of air, which is about communication, having a voice, expression, how the mind works, right? What's the mental activity? But she's also working with very grounding energy. So it's almost like she's looking at images that can potentially ground on planet Earth. She's looking at a movie that may manifest. She's got the potential to bring that down. Bring your wishes and your beliefs from the air to the ground, right? Then you look at my example. I'm working with the dragonfly came to me. That for me was pure air energy, but look where it appeared to me in the water. So I'm working here with air energy and water. So I'm working with the mind. It's something to do with the mind, a revolution with the mind. Water, something to do with my emotions, right? Maybe, Landi, if you think different, you'll feel different, right? If you think different, you'll feel different. You will have a emotional revolution, feelings, passionate. Maybe I'm going to feel very passionate about something. You see which elements you're working there with. And then we had Agnes's clouds, we had Annaliese's lobster. You clearly can see something being dragged out of the water element, right? So out of the sea of emotions, or out of the unknown, the water, the depths of the water, something surfaces, something from the earth surfaces. That for me also means that something to do with Annaliese's emotions, a shift in emotion can manifest something that has to do with the lobster. So you see how this works. We look at that. You always look at the color. You look at the color. Agnes is obviously working with the color blue and white. Blue, it's expression, it's the voice, right? White, new beginnings. And you want to see what those two represent. I was working with the dragonfly red, with the blue of the water, and then the lobster. I don't know if that's an orange color, but it would be the mojo, the confidence, and what chakra correspond to that color, and that would give you an insight. But it came out of the blue. You see how literal it can be. The lobster came out of the blue. So Annalise, out of the blue, something will be activated that's represented by the lobster. So this is one of my 1,000 stories. Who's traveled with me and Mike to Morocco? I don't think there's anyone on this call. So this happened in Morocco. We were on one of our soul journeys. This was the Morocco soul journey, where we take a group of people with us, anything between 11 and let's say 25. And then we take them to a country or to an area. And then we take them to all those sacred sites. And then we would have a theme for that tour. And then basically for 11 days, people travel with us. Shazar and Sahaja has been on a soul journey with us. I can't see the rest of your people on this call. I only see a limited amount, but I'm actually going to quickly now check. So we've had Sahaja on a soul journey with us. We've had Shazar on a soul journey with us. Gary, what the hell? You've probably been on every freaking single soul journey with us almost. And Quibus, have you been on a soul journey with us or not? No, I don't think so. So anyway, on these soul journeys, we have profound experiences, because that's basically what we do. People come and they look at the world around them and the experiences around them in order to give them insights about themselves. But they also start to track the fated events that is represented by what's going on the outside, but also where they are at a given point in their life. And so I met this camel and this guy. in Morocco, in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. And this camel gave me a kiss. Now, people said to me afterwards, it's actually quite dangerous for a camel to give you a kiss. We had another person on the soul journey, and this camel bit his nipple. It was like blue afterwards, and it was actually quite sore. So I didn't realize that you don't take a kiss from a camel, but this camel wanted to kiss me, and the camel kissed me, and memorized the face of the camel and memorized the face of the guy. So after the kiss, you can see I'm in my element. Look how happy Landi is. There's nothing better that can happen to me than a camel kissing me. Because based on signs and symbols, I would say that's been a blessing that's been given to me. There's a promise that's been given to me. It's been sealed with a kiss. So I had to go and look into the camel. The camel is a very, very resilient being. It's got storages, it's got things stored. And it's storing things, and it will keep me through deserts after deserts after deserts. I must worry. I've got my humps. My humps will keep me going. The camel gave me that medicine, as they would say. It gave me the medicine of pulling through. It doesn't matter what, I'll pull through, whatever. Brilliant. Look at the guy. Look at his smile. Memorize his face. Look at the camel. So this was 2018. 2022, me and Mike get married and we go on a honeymoon. The guy who leads our tour in Egypt, not in Morocco, the guy who leads us tour in Egypt hand us the following business card. This is 4 years later in a complete different country. This card was given to us on our honeymoon, and that was us with the camel. I would, with all confidence in the world, say it's the exact same guy and it's the exact same camel. So here you've got an extreme case of absolute synchronicity. Now, I would be interested in what some of you think the message is that's coming through here. What would be your guess?
I would probably say something around long-term relationship, because they've been together and you guys are together. So maybe it's just the bonding 4 years later.
I love that. I haven't even thought of that. That is really great. Thank you, Dobby. Anyone else?
I would say that there are no limits. If you
Why
keep
do you say
going,
that?
then there are no limits, because Morocco and Egypt are on the same continent, but pretty far from each other. And with the resilience of the camel, you can get anywhere.
I love that. And what you made me think now is maybe it's showing how far we've come, maybe how far we've come as a couple, right?
Yeah, also, or how far you came in your own development, or how far you came together. For me, I sense something like a big opening.
Wow.
Or the dropping of boundaries, of limitations, whether it was physical, mental, in whatever way.
Fascinating. Thank you, Agnes. That's really good perspective. Also, you've made me thought of the phrase, how far you've come. I've not thought of that before. Anyone else?
I
Yes,
thought
James. Oh, sorry, I think we've got a few. Who want to go first? Yes, James.
For me, you went full circle because you
Right.
were so extremely happy on the first photo. And so that was the announcement of happiness to follow. And then you experience the full happiness. You went full circle.
I see that now in the happiness of the guy, even the guy in the way he's holding his hands, right? It's like pure joy. That's extraordinary. Thank you, James. Anyone else?
I wanted to say something similar. The kiss is true. The kiss was true. And it's now manifested. But I always thought Mike was a rabbit, not a camel. I'm joking.
He is a rabbit. He's a white rabbit. You got it right.
I know. I'm just joking about the camel.
It's interesting you say that, Annelies, because it may be that the camel is watching over my shoulder. It's like you are always being looked after. There's always something. So it's not necessarily that the camel is Mike, but it may be you are always being watched over your shoulder, and look how far you've come. So can you see there's a message? You've been given a kiss. You've been given the message of the camel. Look how far you've come. Get ready for more abundance and joy. Opening up of a portal. You always will be looked after. Do you see now it becomes a whole message because of what you tell me here? Anyone else who has an insight?
Yeah, for me, it's just you're totally on track. When you get something that is so clearly the same or so far apart, like you said, 4 years later, it's like, it's really clear. You're on track, girl.
You're on track. And isn't that incredible? Don't we all just doubt ourselves all the time? You know, isn't it wonderful to get a confirmation that even though you feel you failing or you're not doing the right things or you're not making progress as far as you want, whatever, for something to literally come out of the ether and say, you're on track. You know, we're watching you. We're proud of you. Doesn't it just make the world of weight fall off your shoulder, especially when things happen like everyone's got their blueprint and yours is not where you want to be. Everyone is doing on Facebook stuff that you want to do and you're not doing it. Everyone's books is published and yours is not published yet. And all these things we tell ourselves. And I think this is the beauty of Uranus moving into Gemini, is that we've got the opportunity in our minds now, which is represented by Gemini, to have this quantum leap in terms of how we feel about ourselves, the narrow perspectives we live by, the little potential we see in ourselves, and thinking that we are guided only by ourselves and not that there is an entire universe, in the words of Paulo Coelho, that's conspiring to get us where we need to be at the right time, at the right place, surrounded by the right people. How does that feel? Liberating, isn't it? So now I want to, before I stop to show you the last slide, because look what we got there. I've got something there on my shoulder. Mike's got something there on his shoulder. I want to say to you, you are not alone. Even if there's days where you feel completely alone, even if the signs and symbols that I'm talking about boggles your mind, even if you sit there and you think it's all a figment of my imagination, I want to 100% assure you it's not a figment of your imagination, and I want to encourage you to look deeper into this. So now, before we climb off this presentation, we do have some time left, and I would really like to hear if there's any extraordinary stories or insights of things that's been happening to you that you want to share. I would love to hear them. We all would love to hear them. By the way, thank you for helping me with the camel. I've researched it so deeply, and just by you giving me back your ideas, you've given me new insight that I haven't had before. And that's why I want to encourage you, even if someone take the names of all of the people on this group, you know, to have your once a month signs and synchronicity meeting. Maybe one of you want to screenshot this and reach out to the people on this call and say, hey, we're going to sit once a month and we're going to talk about these things, and we're going to give each other interpretations of what's happening. If one of you want to take that up, I think it will be extraordinary value. Anyone who want to say anything, please go ahead.
Can I tell a story?
Please.
So when I was turning 21, I said to my family, that's now my father. No, it was my mother, my brother, and my sister. My father had to buy me a motorbike. That's another story. In any case, so I said to my mother, I would like to have an owl for my birthday.
Wow.
So they bought me an Italian, it was like a little statue made from rock, sculptured from rock. But it was a beautiful owl, which costed them a fortune, but they bought me this owl. And many, many, many years later, I realized that the owl is my animal spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
And then recently, an owl moved into our Karoo home. A beautiful big owl that now lives there, and every night he's in the trees. Wow. So for me, that's very profound, and I will have to dig deeper to see what the meaning of the owl is now that the real owl has come home.
Wow. I would definitely go and honor this, James, by having a band around your arm or owl cufflinks, or because it's incredible grace you've been shown. When an animal spirit move into your life, people think it's a little bit weird, but basically what's happening is that the spirit of an animal, and again, you can believe it's the actual animal or it's the collective that's working through the animal. You can't choose them, they choose you. That means that if a spirit of an animal choose you, then you've got the medicine of the owl. That means you can become an owl. And that spirit has chosen you to teach you how to become an owl. And one of the things about the owl, amongst many things that's profound, is people believe they can almost turn their head 360. So you've got incredible wide peripheral view, more so than any other person who doesn't have the owl. And also the owl's got the big eyes, so your ability to see into the truth, see right through the crap. You can see right through the crap. You can literally see the truth for what it is. So you can see who's bluffing, you can see who's true, you can see who's not true. So it gives you that absolute superpower. Then you go into the hunting at night. So you'll probably find a lot of productivity and stimulation at night. So it can teach you all these things. And so the more you're going to learn about the owl, the more you're going to go to the property there and converse with the owl, the more you're going to pray over it, whatever, the more those incredible abilities that the owl will going to give you will come in.
Thank you.
Remarkable. Anyone else? We've got 2 minutes left, but I want to hear your stories.
Landi?
Yes.
Sorry for my mic being off. I'm just moving around. So you remember my
Problem,
story
Mike Webers.
about... Say again?
Hi, Quibus.
Hi. You remember a few years ago when a pigeon visited me?
Do I remember? Are you insane? I was hoping you're going to share the story. Please tell everyone. And there's a photo in the chat about the pigeon.
Yeah, so a few years ago in my transformation with the coaching with Mike and Landi, a pigeon came out of the blue, constantly would sit on my head or sit on my shoulder and was so tamed and would come and visit me every morning. And then with my transformation complete, and I haven't seen a pigeon like that one in a long time. So in the last month, I've gotten a new house. So I've been moving into my new house, and with the move, as I came out, there was a pigeon sitting into my car. And it wasn't trying to fly away. It got on my hand. I picked it up just to see if it wants to fly. And yeah, it was quite nice to have the pigeon so close with me again. And then I just held my hand and then it flew. So it was just again, a nice symbol with this transformation and changes that's happening in my life, that it showed up again. So yeah, that was special.
Thank you, Quibus. What does the pigeon mean to you? What is the message or the comfort that I know it's about change and transformation. It sort of announces it every time for you. But what is that being, that sentient being that's obviously by your side all the time? What does it represent to you, and what does it symbolize to you?
So it's a few things. One, it's hope.
Right.
One is to take it slow, not to rush. So it's sort of peace within, and knowing that I'm on the right track. So it's all of that, just basically just putting my mind at ease that, with all of these changes happening, that sometimes I just have to still walk in faith and hope and just be peaceful. There's no rush. Not only the pigeon, all of the messages I've been getting lately is messages of take it slow, don't rush it, one step at a time. And so, because I've been wondering why certain things are not happening, and it's just all of these messages come, it's time for you to just relax and receive before the horse takes off and runs with you. So, that's the messages I've been getting.
That's beautiful. The peaceful warrior. We call Quibus
yes.
the peaceful warrior, right? So this pigeon literally comes in to constantly comfort and remind Quibus that he's on the right track, that he must work on the peace within, and that everything will work out the way it should. And I think that's my message to you. Things will work out the way it should. Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for all being on this call here today. I would have liked to hear 1,000 more stories, but I'm sure we'll have another lesson like this. So all the best with your Uranus and Gemini. It's definitely a time of change. It's definitely a time of shifts, and lots of love to you all from me and Mike as always.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Goodbye,
lovely.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Bye.